So friends, Jack Smith just gave Donald Trump's defense attorneys a preview of the evidence against him, and Donald Trump blows a gasket. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, we just saw a letter drafted by Special Counsel Jack Smith and delivered to Donald Trump's defense attorneys, a letter detailing some of the evidence that Jack Smith has and that he intends to use against Donald Trump in his criminal trial. Now let me first say that this letter, about 4.5 pages, is a study in brevity and clarity. And the other thing is, it looks like this letter caused Donald Trump to blow a gasket. Now, we'll get to Donald Trump's new post in a minute, but let's start with the new reporting, this from CNN about this discovery letter from Jack Smith. Headline, Trump receives first batch of evidence against him in classified documents case, including audio tapes. And that article begins, Special Counsel Jack Smith has begun producing, that is, providing, evidence in the Mar-a-Lago documents case to Donald Trump, according to a Wednesday court filing that hints that investigators collected for the case multiple recordings of the former president, not just audio of an interview Trump gave at Bedminster for a forthcoming Mark Meadows memoir. Prosecutors in the filing used the plural interviews to describe recordings of Trump made with his consent, obtained by the special counsel, that have now been turned over to his defense team. It's unclear what the additional recordings may be of or how relevant they will be to the Justice Department's case against the former president, though the recordings include the Bedminster tape, where Trump speaks about a secret military document to a writer and others, the prosecutors said in the filing. The prosecutors' update to the court on Wednesday night marks another swift move toward trial, which the Justice Department has said should happen quickly, and captures at least some of the extent of the evidence investigators secured to build their historic case against Trump. Now, it's interesting that there are apparently multiple tapes, multiple interviews Donald Trump gave. In fact, CNN featured that in the headline of this article because we only knew of the one interview, the one audio tape. We learned about that recently, when he was at his golf club in Bedminster waving around a classified document, reportedly including information about a potential military strike by the U.S. against a foreign country. And Donald Trump is saying things like, well, I'd like to show it to you, but it's classified and I didn't declassify it and I'm not president anymore, so I can't declassify it. Basically, putting the lie to so many other things Donald Trump has said. But we only knew of that one interview. Is it any surprise that Donald Trump gave multiple interviews, I'm sure, in which he hurt himself, hurt his legal position? It seems the only time Donald Trump opens his mouth is to change feet. But whereas the reference to multiple tapes is interesting, there's actually another sentence in the discovery letter and in this CNN article that, in my estimation, is the sentence that made Donald Trump blow a gasket. Quote, the first batch of evidence provided on Wednesday includes the grand jury testimony of witnesses who will testify for the government at the trial of his case, the special counsel's office wrote. That's right, friends. Donald Trump now has the grand jury transcripts, so he can see for the first time who testified against him and what they told the grand jury about his criminal activity. So it just got real for Donald Trump. And think about it, who are these people who ended up being presented to the grand jury by Jack Smith? Well, when these people were down at Mar-a-Lago, and they were probably summoned into the 45 office. Yes, that's what Donald Trump calls his office at Mar-a-Lago. What do you think they were saying to Donald Trump? Mr. President, sir, you did nothing wrong. They have nothing on you, sir. No, sir, they're just out to get you. Yes, Mr. President, it's a big old witch hunt. What do you think these same people said when they were hauled before the grand jury, told to raise their right hand, placed under oath? They swore to tell the truth, and if they lied in there, they could be charged with perjury. They could be charged with obstructing justice. They could be charged potentially with accessory after the fact. Maybe even they're acting as part of a conspiracy with Donald Trump. And then those people who were in Donald Trump's office at Mar-a-Lago telling him everything he wanted to hear. You the man, Mr. President, big old witch hunt. I'm quite sure we're telling the grand jury, he was moving the boxes around and he was trying to hide them. He said the grand jury had no right to them. He said he's never giving them back. Yeah, they probably told a very different story in the grand jury than they told Donald Trump in the 45 office. And who are these people? Well, we know, based on some of what we learned when Donald Trump's federal indictment was unsealed, they're his own lawyers, right? Trump attorney number 1, Trump attorney number 2, Trump attorney number 3, they're his own employees. Trump employee number 1, Trump employee number 2. There's even a reference to a Trump family member in the indictment. So who are all the people that Jack Smith compelled to testify in the grand jury about Donald Trump's crimes? Most of them were allies. Most of them were expressly on Team Trump, like the defense lawyers representing him. Some were his employees. Some may have been his family members. For all we know, there are probably cabinet members in there, agency heads in there, maybe even a chief of staff. Mark Meadows is in the grand jury testifying about Trump's crimes. So yeah, it just got real for Donald Trump when he got to see for the first time who testified against him and what they told the grand jury about his crimes. So how do we know it just got real for Donald Trump? Well, it's gasket blowing time. After Donald Trump got a preview of some of the evidence against him, here's what he posted in all caps. Congress, please investigate the political witch hunts against me currently being brought by the corrupt DOJ and FBI who are totally out of control. This continuing saga is retribution against me for winning. And even more importantly to them, election interference regarding the 2024 presidential election. It will be their updated form of rigging. Their, T-H-E-R-E, so you know Donald Trump wrote this post. It will be their updated form of rigging our most important election. Look at the polls. They can't beat me. MAGA at the ballot box. The only way they can win is to cheat. Stop them now. He seems pretty confident. Not a care in the world. Well, other than the fact that he will be convicted for his crimes. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.